Hello. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Danielle, a small business owner who has an almost unhealthy obsession with e-readers, reading, journaling, tech, and planning. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we'll be talking about the Boox Go Color 7. I've had it for almost 2 months now and I've been using it as my primary e-reader, so I'm ready to give my review. The Boox Go Color 7 has a 7-inch Kaleido 3 screen and it runs on Android. Right out the box, I really loved how sleek it was. It's a little smaller than both my Kindle Oasis and my Kobo Libra Color. It feels really good in hand, but I would never trust myself to hold it without a case or some type of pop socket. I'm worried it'll just fall right out of my hand. As much as I love the design of the Boox Go Color 7, I'm not as confident in its durability because look how easily the screen separated from the back by simply taking this case off. Yes, I know the case was a little bit tight, but I did cut the slits in it and that still managed to happen. I love the volume buttons that you can customize to use as scroll or page turn buttons depending on the app that you're using, but even these feel a little bit loosey-goosey. The USB-C port is on the side here and the power button is on the bottom. One thing I absolutely love is the micro SD card slot. You can add extra storage. Another cool feature is its built-in speakers to be able to listen to audiobooks, podcasts, or whatever tickles your fancy without needing headphones, but it does have Bluetooth capability. The biggest draw of the Boox is definitely the access to Google Play Store. You can pretty much download any app available on there. Just because you can doesn't mean you should though. It's still an e-ink device, so it will limit how well more powerful apps run, but you can really make this your everything bookish device. Download your favorite ebook and audiobook apps like Kindle, Libby, Libro FM. You can even download your book tracking apps like Goodreads and Storygraph. I even tried Notion. It's not the best, but it's definitely manageable. You can even have your Spotify playing in the background. One thing I was surprised by was how well videos play in the Boox. Now don't expect the quality to be anything amazing, but it definitely surpassed my expectations. I hate a cluttered home screen, so I'm happy you're able to organize your apps into groups. You have a couple of ways to access the menu, but the most used options are going to be right at the bottom. So you have your library, which will mostly be any books or documents you've siloed it. Aside from connecting it to your computer, you can add your books through options like Google Drive and Dropbox. I wish the store was better and you could actually purchase popular books because I do enjoy the Boox built-in e-reader app. You have your storage option. You have the apps page, which is going to be a default home screen. You can change that in the settings, and of course you're going to have your settings. Here you can customize things like gestures and your volume button functions. By swiping down from the top right, you can access the control center. To easily access the things you'll probably need often, you can customize what's in your control center. You can adjust how loud the speakers are and your screen brightness and temperature. The e-ink center is probably where you're going to run into a lot of frustration with the Boox. It is a lot of customization. This is where you're going to be able to adjust your color mode and refresh rates. What works for one app isn't going to work for the other app. Even within the same app, what works for regular reading might not work for graphic novels. The Kindle app runs pretty smoothly. The colors show up well. I did customize one of the volume buttons to refresh my screen. Now you can adjust your automatic refresh rates, but I feel like I was changing them way too often. So just holding down the button to refresh works for me. The screen seems to be a little bit darker compared to my other e-readers. I find that I often have the brightness all the way up. All colored e-readers will have a bit of graininess, but because the screen feels a little bit dark to me, I tend to notice it more in the book. I do feel like I experience more ghosting compared to my other e-readers. I expect it with image heavy media, but even highlighting comes with a lot of ghosting. Overall, I love the display and how colors show up. I guess I just need to adjust some more settings once again. I haven't had any issues with the Kindle app. I don't really like the Kobo app on here, but for the most part, everything just works normally. I was pleasantly surprised by the built-in Boox Neo e-reader, and of course, it's because of the annotating features. You have a bunch of different line options, straight, wavy, dash, and so many color options. You have inverted highlight options, which is great for if you choose darker highlight color. You have standard and overlay highlight. You can type your notes, and I love the little notes bubble there. When you tap it on your note, it shows right there on the screen, just really subtle and small. It's a shame I don't get to use this app more because I don't silo very many books. I read a lot of indie authors that are on Kindle Unlimited or just only available on Kindle, but that's just one excuse. If I'm being honest, when it comes to annotating digitally, I do prefer the Kobo, so if I'm gonna silo it on any device, it'll probably be on that one. The battery life is pretty decent. Of course, it isn't going to be as good as the Kindle, but considering it runs on Android and everything you can do with it, I've only charged it about once or twice a week, which is better than I expected. I haven't had any issues with reading outside on bright and sunny days. If anything, the screen looks more crisp than it usually does, and I've had no overheating problems or anything like that. Dark mode is okay. I do notice the ghosting a bit more. Overall, I think this is a great e-reader option. My only real gripes are the darker screen, mostly because it dims my highlight colors, priorities, and the ghosting. One thing I forgot to mention is it's not waterproof, so that on top of the more delicate screen, do have to be a little bit more careful. I'm definitely getting making me a case with the front cover. I didn't really get into the how-tos of everything, so if you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I know. Bye.